No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Saving Junk, and I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. There's not a whole lot interesting going on out in the garage. We're getting close to shooting primer on that 69 GMC. So this weekend is really just a bunch of cleaning and hanging plastic, and we're gonna wash the truck and that kind of stuff. And it's really cold out there. Plus I don't have a good phone yet. I said in my last video I changed jobs, and I'm kind of working on using one of those Walmart Go phones until I get another phone. And I did my last video on it, wasn't too crazy about it. So hopefully this week I'll get another phone and kind of pick some shop videos up again. But anyway, I wanted to put something out this weekend, so I thought I'd kind of go back and look into my picture archive of old projects. I don't have a lot of old videos, but I do got a lot of old pictures. So I kind of picked this one. This was from about, I don't know, eight years ago maybe. It was a 77 Chevette. It was just a roller, no drivetrain. I got it from my brother-in-law. Super solid car. He was gonna put an LT1 in it or something. I don't know, but he kind of changed routes, and I ended up with the car. And decided to do a V8 swap on it. And kind of the theme or the idea I was looking at was a kind of a what if project. So what if Chevy had made a V8 powered Chevette? So I kind of tried to steer it that way in the look of it. And I think the only thing I kind of waned from, I ended up using a pair of shorty headers on it, because I couldn't find manifolds that would fit, and I had to alter those shorty headers quite a bit on one side to get them around the steering box. But I'll show you all that. So anyway, we're just going to take a little time today and walk through this project. I'll do it as a slideshow, and we'll narrate it, show what was going on. I hope you like it. It was a neat car. I got it done, drove it a little bit, and then ended up selling it, passing it on to the next guy. And I think he tore it all apart and made a drag car out of it. But it was fun to build, and I got a lot of good pictures here, and I'll kind of show you what we did. Okay, so let's take a look. So this is the car when I got it. You can see just really nice, clean, straight, good paint. The car was in really nice shape. All the way around, front end was good. Didn't have the bumper on it right here, but glass was all good. I mean, it was well taken care of, other than not having a drivetrain. Interior was nice on it, so I didn't have to do any of this stuff. I'll show you what I did with it. The guy that had it before had cut the entire firewall out of it. You can see that. So I had to rebuild a firewall for it. I'll show that in a minute here. Same deal. You can kind of see right into the car. So this was my starting point. Yeah, big hole. But I did have that piece. It was laying in the trunk, so I was able to cut it and get it to fit. Now I did have to move it back because of the length of the engine. But it came out looking pretty decent. As far as an engine, I bought this 350 out of a truck for 150 bucks. Ran. Didn't do a whole lot to it. Pulled the heads, did a valve lapping, changed all the gaskets, checked the bearings, they were good, threw an oil pump in it. Krylon rebuild right there. I want to use the blue from that year of GM motor. Used an aluminum intake, but painted it blue. Threw a Q-jet on top of it. A little bit of a cam, not much. So this is the air cleaner. I got this off of a TBI, and what I did is I wanted to make a little dual snorkel air cleaner. So I've got 2 of these from the boneyard actually, and cut the snorkel off of one, and then cut a hole in this one and welded them both together. So that's where I cut the snorkel off of that one. And that time I had a plasma cutter. I don't have it anymore. So that's kind of where it started, how it came out starting wise. Just getting a dual snorkel on it, which I thought was kind of cool. But it sat too high, so I had to cut the bottom out of it and recess the bottom of it. There's my old plasma cutter right there. So that's what I did, and I just kind of took a piece of metal around there and recessed that. Show you that in a second here. There you go. That's kind of how I did it there. But yeah, I just wanted to look like GM had put it together. So that's how it came out, and was able to get the hood closed, which is cool. But I remember what cam I had in that thing. Some Summit Jeep cam. Had to move, redo the steering column because it wouldn't hit the motor. You know, it's had a little 4-cylinder in it. So I used this piece of an Astrovan steering column with a couple of U-joints in it. And I had to make a bearing for the bottom of the column. And that's kind of how it came out. Got that angle on it so I could get the motor in there. A lot of trial and error on that thing to make it fit, but I finally did get it to where it would work. That was all pretty much GM parts too. I mean, I don't think there's anything aftermarket on there. eBay aftermarket radiator, which was a little bit small, but it worked, you know, as long as you weren't sitting still for too long. But there's me trial fitting the motor, and it was a tight fit, but we got it in there. And there's a trying air cleaner on it, so making sure the hood would shut, which it did. So then after I moved that piece of the firewall back and welded that back together, shot some paint on it, pulled the motor back out to do that. Had to do a little patchwork on one of the shock towers that was had some rust on it. That was like the only rust on the whole car, was right at the top of one of the struts. So I had to fix that. So there's a motor sitting back in there. It's me making motor mounts for it. Just made them out of 1/4-inch steel plate, you know, kind of lined everything up at a level, and you can see that the steering column fits around there, and was able to get the header in there, which was that's where I kind of had to alter the header. I had to cut the collector off of it and pitch it backwards, and that picture's actually when I was figuring the firewall out. So there's a header on, yeah, that's on the driver's side, and like I said, I had to move that collector and to be able to get that in there. Now this is, I was putting a cross member together, and actually this cross member I made out of a bunch of steel plate and steel left from an elevator remod at the building I worked at. So it was like, it was almost 3/4 of an inch thick, that piece of steel there. So it worked out pretty good for to make a cross member out. So never throw steel away. So, and that's kind of what I did, just welded a little tab on the bottom for it. And I just used a turbo 350 transmission. So, you know, I mounted that thing straight to the floor, put some little plates on top of it, and bolted it together. So this is the tunnel inside, which it had basically no tunnel. I had to cut all that out to fit the turbo 350, and I had to piece all that back together, which we just, you know, cut some steel and cut some sheet metal and made it work. And you can see that plate there at the top of the cross member. So this is where I just kind of put some, you know, made pieces one by one and made them fit in there. This is the driver's side. I had to move the brake pedal over, and I had to move the gas pedal over because the tunnel ended up where the gas pedal was. Yeah, that's passenger side pretty much buttoned up. and that's where I had to move that brake over a little bit. Just moved it over on the bracket, and then moved the gas pedal over. That's the driver's side all buttoned up. And I'm doing a test fit, making sure I can get my big butt in there and get my feet in there to drive. The gauges, that was original gauges and a set of full-size GM van gauges, which dropped right in there and gave me a full gauge set. I thought it was kind of cool. So there's headers on and sitting in there, and kind of get some other things bolted up. Fuel line, pulleys, getting the steering lined up there around the header. It was close, but it worked. No power steering, but you really didn't need it on this thing. So that's kind of what the motor came out looking like. And that's why I said I was just kind of going for the, the what if GM look. Bought a new Q-Jet and put it on there, a remanufactured Q-Jet from Summit. Picture the back side of it. And this thing ran really good, and it was fun. It was fun to drive. It was like a little slingshot. Even with maybe, I don't know, maybe a 250 horse motor, it didn't have a lot of power, but it didn't need it. So there's the car put back together. Got the bumper back on, got the grill back together. Like I said, just super, super clean car. Interior was nice on it. So this was a really low buck project, and I made some decent money when I sold this thing. But I don't know, I drove it maybe 5 or 6 months before I sold it. But it was a lot of fun. And like I said, it looks just like a regular old Chevette. And that's kind of what I was going for. It would sure tear those little 13-inch pizza cutter tires off that thing, I'll tell you. So that's one of those I kind of wish I'd have hung on to. Maybe I'll find another one of these days and do it again and do it a little bit different. But yeah, that thing was a blast. You'd never get any air conditioning or anything in there. There was like no room at all left under the hood of that thing. But it's a good looking little car. I didn't do anything to the outside except wash it and buff it. And it came out really nice looking, I think. And that was a quick project too. I mean, I turned this thing around about, I don't know, maybe 3 months, 4 months, something like that. Just working on weekends because I didn't have to do any body work, didn't have to do any interior work. So it's nice when you can find a project like that. But maybe that gives some of you some ideas. I really like the early Chevette with the round headlights like that. I think they got a neat look to the front of them. It's my son's Firebird in the corner there. I think you can see it. Yeah, he's my son's first car. 94 Firebird behind him. We painted that car. It was green. But you see quarters are real straight on this thing. Some of these pictures are from when I actually put it on eBay and sold it. It was just showing how solid it was. I think there's a couple of exhaust pictures on here too where I just showed how I did the exhaust. So I made my own dual exhaust, and yeah, there's your cross member, part of the exhaust pipe. And I just ran, tucked the exhaust up in the back corners so you couldn't see that it was dual exhaust. And I found the smallest, quietest mufflers I could put on it, these little Walker mufflers. But I mean, you could still tell it was a V8, but it wasn't like screaming loud. So you could definitely tell it wasn't a four-cylinder. And the back of it, it's good and straight all the way around. I think here's a couple of pictures of the exhaust. Yeah, there's one side, and there's the other side. Okay, so that was it for the Chevette, and like I said, that was a really fun, cool project to do, and I had a good time with it. So I might do a few of these. I've got lots of pictures of old projects, and when it's really really cold outside and you want to do some car stuff, but you don't want to go out and freeze to death, this is kind of a cool way to do it. So anyway, hit like and hit subscribe, and thanks for checking this one out. And like I said, I'm gonna get probably get another phone this week and pick shop videos back up. I'm hoping to this week get the primer on the truck and start block sanding that thing and get it out of here in the next couple of weeks. So we've been hitting it pretty hard. So I'll send an update on that before long, and once it's out of here, we'll do a cleanup and get back on the 61. And I've got that 92 van, full-size van. I got to haul up from my cabin down in the country because I'm going to need the TBI parts for the 61. So we might do a little road trip video on hauling that van up here. I'm going to take my other 92 and rent a U-Haul car dolly and tow that thing 2.5 hours up here. So we'll see if we make it or not, or if we end up broke down on the side of the road. Hopefully not. So, all right, catch you next time.